Seeing mind directly. Usually, a way of analyzing what one does is based on the view that one has, the meditation one does, and the practice that goes with this view. As far as the view is concerned, the Sutra approach and the Vajrayana approach are a bit different. The Sutra approach is called the deductive approach, or the approach of analyzing the mind. Through analysis and inspection, one comes to the conclusion that its essence is empty, that its quality is clarity, and Buddha essence is in all beings. But this is derived mainly through the process of deduction. The Vajrayana view is based on the mind itself. Rather than being deductive, it is called the direct experience. So one has the immediate experience of the mind. One discovers the mind actually as it is. Because of that immediate and real experience, the view of how the mind is will naturally arise. One begins by doing samatha meditation. This calm stability of samatha helps one gain the very direct experience of the mind. One looks at the arising, the abiding, and the departing of things which take place in the mind. First, we examine arising. When something happens, a thought for instance, then we try to discover where it comes from. It is different from the analytical approach, because in the analytical approach, if we have a happy thought, we then deduce that some pleasant object or action produced this happy thought. We would see a causal relationship of thought and object. In the Vajrayana, however, we are looking at the thought itself, looking for where has that thought actually come from. We try to see very clearly what source it emerged from. Second, we examine the actual thought the instant it is there. We try to find where it actually is, where it is dwelling. And third, as it fades, we try to see very clearly where that thought has gone. Where has it departed to? By being aware of the arising, the abiding, and the departure of thoughts, we begin to see that there is no place, no thought bank that thoughts emerge from. There is also no actual place where they are located or where we can find them. Finally, we discover there is no place that they go afterwards. So all we find is emptiness in these three moments of thought. If we examine thoughts, we gain stability of mind and begin to understand the essence of the mind itself. Once we become familiar with the nature of mind, we see that it is the same whether we are thinking or not thinking. We discover the very essence of the mind itself is very stable. Through this very direct approach, we don't need other techniques to bring stability to the mind, because by discovering the nature of the mind, then there will quite naturally be a stability, a calmness and peace. We discover that not even the very essence of thoughts is peace. We don't need to eliminate or suppress thoughts. Instead, we gain the actual experience without philosophizing about emptiness. We don't need to know that everything is emptiness, because emptiness is the nature of mind. The very nature of what is happening in our experience is emptiness without any need to think, is it or isn't it, or having to put any labels onto it. It is obviously empty because it is actually there. The same is true with the clarity. We don't need to analyze clarity to think, is this clarity, and the wisdom aspect, because we arrive at a state where everything is apparent. We no longer need to add any terms or ideas or philosophy, since the actual experience is there. For instance, Before we begin our meditation practice, our anger was very powerful and overtook us and seems very strong and important. Then we learned to look at our mind and try to look at how we get angry and where the anger came from. Then we look at the anger, which seems so real, to find its essence. We find it is nowhere when looking at it straight in the face and in the heart. There is nothing to be found. When we meditate, we sometimes develop a very stable and calm state and think, "Oh yes, my meditation is really working." Sometimes we have many thoughts and think, "Now there are too many thoughts." But then we look at the stable mind and the busy thinking mind. We do not find much difference between the essence of mind in both these cases. This contrasts with our normal conception of mind. Sometimes we think, "Now I'm in meditation," and another time we think, "Now I'm thinking," and still another time, "Now I'm happy," or "Now I'm sad," or "Now I'm getting angry and upset." It seems there is a tremendous amount of change in the mind, but when we learn to be aware of the very nature of the mind, we find that the mind is identical in all these circumstances. To improve our meditation and make it a continuous living experience, we need faith and devotion. It is said that the Kagyu lineage prayer that devotion is the head of meditation. We pray to open ourselves, to have confidence in our Guru, in the Gurus of the transmission, and in all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas and Yidams. It is by making this connection with them, with full devotion towards them, and having that confidence in them that produces this deep meditation. Once our meditation is more and more stable, things become clearer and clearer, and all the various good qualities emerge. That is why we do the various sadhanas and devotional practices. When meditation progresses and becomes part of us, we can find peace. Then, when thoughts of aggression and aversion begin to arise, we find peace by meditating on their very essence. When thoughts of desire or attraction emerge, then by being aware of the essence of these thoughts, we find peace. When feelings of suffering start to emerge, we are able to go to the very essence, and they are calmed, and we find peace. When thoughts of happiness that stimulate pride and artificial joy emerge, by going to the very essence, we again find peace. Through this very deep awareness,